Welcome my friends back to Marvel Snap. The benevolent overlord of digital card games, Ben Brode himself recently took to IGN's channel doing an interview talking about some of his top decks, or at least the ones that he has been playing with most recently. The video is really short. I've got a link down in the description if you want to be able to check out him breaking the decks down. I always love watching Ben Brode just talking about his games. His charisma is so infectious, but the video is so short it doesn't get to show any gameplay. So I want to break down the decks that the game's creator is playing, review them a little bit, show some gameplay to be able to get a little bit deeper, and also talk about ways that you can make budget versions of this list if you are just starting your Pool 3 version or your Pool 3 journey, because he of course is thinking around playing with the entire collection here with some deep takes into the Pool 3 using a lot of those powerful cards on his lists. First up is Ben Brode's Omega list, headlined of course by Omega Red ongoing. If you're already ahead by 10 power here, plus 4 power to the other locations. So you have to be able to overkill the location that he is at by 10 plus power to be able to generate the press of force on the other two locations. The beautiful synergy here is with Iron Man, who is doubling your power, and then of course the Onslaught. If Onslaught is providing the multiplicative stacking with the Iron Man, it should be very easy for you to be over your opponent by more than 10 points, and then Onslaught is also going to be putting the extra pressure through Omega Red plus 8 to the other locations. The twist that Ben Brode has pulled in here is the Invisible Woman ongoing. Cards you play here are not revealed until the game ends. You lay her down first, and then you're on a very tight curve of playing Omega Red on turn 4, Iron Man on 5, Onslaught on 6. But these cards are all not going to be revealed, which means your opponent cannot interact with them until the game ends, which means they can't interact with them at all. It's absolutely fantastic. It means that they cannot get shut down by the Enchantress, which is often the tech that is going to absolutely break the back of this deck. It's also completely a surprise, so you get to play this mind game around playing your cards to the other locations. The opponent doesn't know what to expect you to have behind the Invisible Woman, and then you surprise them with this huge show of force. The rest of the deck is teched in to make things more consistent if you don't draw explicitly into that stack of cards. We have the Ant-Man as a nice little ongoing ability to drop early. Uatu to be able to know what locations are revealing. I don't personally love Uatu, but I believe the understanding here is because we are going to be stacking one location and picking that location very early on turn 2, we would like to know what all of the location effects are before we dive in. We have the Ebony Maw here, just incredible tempo from turn 1, potentially getting the plus 8 assistance from the Omega Red later on. You cannot play this after turn 3 and ongoing. You cannot play cards here. So he's a brick in the hand after turn 3, but he also has a little bit of synergy with the Invisible Woman. You can play the Ebony Maw behind the Invisible Woman, and because he doesn't reveal, his effect doesn't take hold, and you can keep on playing cards in behind him. We also have the armor to protect ourselves. We have the Mr. Fantastic as the budget Omega Red, also getting doubled by the Onslaught, can be putting a lot of pressure on the opponent. The Punisher here, it's all ongoing synergies and ways to be able to fit in cards around this core set. And then we have the Namor also doing very well solo at a location, especially when he's getting the helping hand from both Mr. Fantastic and Omega Red. The Spectrum, in case we don't draw the Onslaught, is buffing all of our cards with the ongoing tag. Ant-Man, Invisible Woman, Uatu, so we find out the locations, and we do have the Onslaught, so we have 2 pieces of the 4 that we're really looking for. Fisk Tower here, Isle of Silence, so obviously cannot play down to Isle of Silence. Part of our tech seems to be working here with the Uatu. Let's go ahead and play the Ant-Man. Get him down. See what else we draw into. We need to draw into Omega Red and Iron Man. And we'll put our death stack at Fisk Tower. So we'll play the Invisible Woman here. Try and hide behind it. Now, Invisible Woman is a very rare card in Pool 3. Most people expect to see her in a hella discard list. They will also be expecting the Ebony Maw potentially connected to that hella list, and you play around that list very differently than you do this Omega Red list. So the Invisible Woman could really throw the opponents off a little bit. Because we don't have the Omega Red yet or the Iron Man yet, I'm going to make the executive decision that we need to change up our game plan, run for the second stringer of Mr. Fantastic instead of the Omega Red. We'll get him down here. They go Green Goblin. Green Goblin disrupts the Invisible Woman stack so much. Superflow comes across. They get more strength, and now the Namor is cut off because of the Isle of Silence. Everything is going wrong. Let's play our Uatu, and then maybe the Punisher. See what turn 5 brings. What are we really looking for? They go Cosmo and then Armor for no reason at all. The Cosmo disabled and the Armor disabled as well. We do see the Spectrum here. Very interesting. We can go... We could play Namor to the Superflow to be able to score the Ant-Man, and then turn 6 is the Spectrum to Fisk Tower to be able to get the buff on the Invisible Woman and the Mr. Fantastic. I don't know if it's enough. I don't know if it's going to be enough. They go Enchantress. Sure, turns off the Invisible Woman. Now this actually means the Invisible Woman will not get buffed by the Spectrum, but now they do get to see the Mr. Fantastic appear, but he was not disabled by the Enchantress himself. And there's the Omega Red, just too late. Far too late. Let's play our Spectrum and see where the opponent wants to take it. We're going to be able to get 7 strength here, and then an enormous bump. I feel like Superflow is completely locked up. It's a bit of a coin flip on what happens here at Fisk Tower, and whether the opponent is anticipating the play to Fisk Tower to cap this one off, or if they are worried with only the 4-point margin of victory to then want to shore up their position in Isle of Silence. The Isle of Silence, I think that they still have the ongoing tag, whereas the ongoing tag is fully removed because of the Enchantress on our Invisible Woman. Yes, I believe that's how it's lining up. What is their last play? They could be playing Spectrum themselves. They have the Killmonger. Okay, they did put effort into the Superflow. Very interesting. We were able to steal the win here with the Spectrum coming in at the last moment. Ebony Maw, Spectrum, Namor in hand. Fun twist. And then the Mindscape. The Mindscape is going to take away our final play, meaning that we cannot seal things off with the Onslaught. One of my least favorite locations. I know many of you feel the same. Let's play the Ant-Man. Wait on the Ebony Maw. Looks like next turn we might just play the Ebony Maw. Depends on what we draw. We're going to have to top deck into the entire Exodia here. We have Shuri's Lab. Fun. Okay, let's go Ebony Maw to the mystery location. Hold out hope that we could fill in the Ant-Man. Hold out hope that we can play around Shuri's Lab. It means that the Namor is a little dead, but we have other 4-drops. We get the Invisible Woman now. Okay, so... We could play the Punisher. Let's play the Punisher. We're not seeing the rest of our Exodia construction, and with the Mindscape we know that it's broken anyway. So I feel like the Invisible Woman is not what we're looking for. And honestly, giving the opponent the Invisible Woman is going to be quite useless for them. We could play Namor here. To Shuri's Lab. I mean, that's crazy, right? He gets buffed to 10, and then he's holding the +5 for being solo for now. But we will likely play another card to Shuri's Lab to get that doubling. There we go. Mantis comes up empty. Mr. Fantastic putting on the pressure. Opponent maybe playing Spectrum. I mean, honestly, the Spectrum could look okay for them. Let's drop our Iron Man to the lab. We're not doing too badly here. Even with Mindscape shaking things up. Captain America, Mr. Fantastic. What do you have? Do you have Onslaught yourself? Do you have Spectrum yourself? You're going with the Claw. Okay, spicy. And now we swap hands. What finisher do we get? We got the Omega Red. It is time. Omega Red. That gives us the +4 here, so even if I play the armor, we're not going to win. So I want to play the armor here to give me better odds of being +10. And then it's all going to be on Lechigilia getting this assisting hand from the Tentacle Slap. I don't know, it's so tight to call. I love that we top decked into the Omega Red though. Now I've been playing for a little while trying to find the exact Exodia combo. We haven't found it yet. I think we're going to call our attempts here. Just, you guys know it is a complex combo. You don't always get it. If you get it, you're in a beautiful position. And then it's just a balancing act in terms of how you build the deck, in terms of, are you playing for good conditions when you don't find the Exodia combo, or are you playing for ways to be able to make it more powerful and itself more consistent? Some people bring in the Mystique to be able to copy some of these powerful ongoing effects. The Mystique on the Iron Man is a beautiful situation. Some people bring in the Magic to be able to extend the game, to get that one extra card draw. Hopefully that is the missing piece that you need. Here, Ben Brode has definitely shifted the list toward being better when you just don't find it. It's not really running energy cheats to get things out there early, and it is ready in the instance where you don't find one of the key pieces of your direct combo to still be able to play very well. So as promised, budget version of the list. If you are not yet in Pool 3, you don't have access to the Invisible Woman and the Omega Red, but you like the idea of this deck. Honestly, the Omega Red is very core here. But if you want to drop him, you can run Claw instead, and if you don't have the Invisible Woman, you can run the Cosmo, which has a similar effect of being able to protect your super stack of cards, and in the case where you're dropping the Omega Red, then we are bringing in the Claw instead. It means that things get kind of bound up on each other because we're making the deck more expensive. So it's a case where now you don't have to stack the Iron Man on top of the Claw, but getting the Claw empowered by the Onslaught and then the Mr. Fantastic, also putting the pressure out there and still having these bargain plays of the Namor and the Ebony Maw potentially played solo is just creating a lot of bonus potential, and you still have ways to be able to help them out that you can surprise a lot of opponents with this list. The second deck list Ben Brode said he has been playing around with, he is calling Butthead, and this is very similar to an archetype that is near and dear to my heart, which I have always called or heard called Have Some Crap. Our goal is to be able to attack the opponent's board space through things like the Black Widow, giving them a spider bite to play to their side of the board, the Debris, giving them rocks on their side of the board, the Viper, that is either looking to press one of our rocks to their side of the board, or the Hood, which himself is a negative strength body, and then the Dr. Octopus, pulling random cards out of their hand onto their side of the board. Then we capitalize on their side of the board being choked up with junk by hitting it with stuff like Spider-Woman, decreasing their card's power, the Hazmat also decreasing their card's power. We keep ourselves from being afflicted by this control with the Carnage opening up board space, the Nova buffing our side of the board, and then some efficient tempo plays as well. We have the Green Goblin also just sailing over to the opponent's side of the board as a negative strength play. We have the Polaris here, able to move around an opposing 1 or 2 cost, looking to be the nail in the coffin of choking off an important location against them. I, as you guys have seen, have never played Polaris myself, but Ben Brode is running it in his version of the list, and he also has Korg. He says it's one of his favorite cards, forcing the opponent to draw the rock he just finds hilarious. Alright, diving in, we have the Dr. Octopus, Polaris, Spider-Woman, Hazmat. Dr. Octopus, very much a double-edged sword, pulling free cards for the opponent, but just because of the way that it breaks the opponent's combos, I find the Dr. Octopus works more often than not. I really like having him here. Let's play our Black Widow. Try and choke off the opponent's board space a little bit. They're playing the Hood. They could be playing a self-destruction deck, which is the counter matchup up against us. It's hard for us to be able to get through there. But honestly, the Dr. Octopus is good in the self-destruction matchup because then he can cause destructions that the opponent didn't necessarily want to have happen, and a lot of their points get wasted. So I'm saying that there's a chance. My own version of this list looks a little bit different. I bring in the Shang-Chi instead of the Polaris. I run Magic instead of the Spider-Woman, and then I run Sunspot instead of the Korg. But all around, it is quite similar to what I've been enjoying. They do have the self-destruction list. So, we want a killer Doc Ock to be able to swing things for us. If we don't find it, they'll be rough. I still want to send the Goblin over, even though they might be able to just walk this back completely. They go with the Carnage, fantastic. That was what I was hoping. The Carnage is the best way to be able to clear away the Goblins, because the Venom will still have to absorb their negative power. So I feel fairly good about that line of play. Let's go in with the Polaris. We can pull the negative strength Hood over here to Baxter Building. Slow them down a little bit. And then we can play... I wish that I had my own Carnage to know that I could play the Hood myself. I suppose I'll play the Hood to the Baxter building. I don't know about the other one. And then Spiderwoman and Doc Ock. We're gonna have to pick between those two next turn. They have the Cosmo. Oh, now my on-reveals don't trigger. So the opponent is playing Destroyer. Destroyer will be able to get rid of Hood Goblin. But if they play here to Baxter building, I don't know. I'm feeling okay. Let's go in with the Doc Ock and see if they were prepared to have their cards played for them. Then we can follow up with the Spider-Woman to be able to debuff them and keep on doubling. It will give us a good idea on if we're able to win at Shuri's Lab or not. We're definitely losing Baxter building. There's no way that we win it. We could have played the Doc Ock there to be able to avoid pulling in any free cards, but then we're still not above. They have the max. I love it. We're up to 20. Their zone is completely filled. Okay. I'm quite happy with this. I actually love how it turned out. They flip first, meaning that they have the initiative, so we can just play Spider-Woman Nova. Something like this. Trying to win the Dark Dimension. What do they have to be able to win it? We'll be getting 9, 10, 11 strength there. Is there a combo where we break the Nova and then win Baxter building? No, there's not. There's definitely not. Is there another combo that's a little bit better still with the Nova Carnage eating him, becoming a 5-er? And then you play... I don't know. You don't have anything else to play after that. Alright, let's flip it. Spider-Woman and the Nova. What's their final play? It's the Killmonger. Killmonger doesn't activate. Green Goblin sails across. Not going to be a big deal there. And then the Demon. We debuff the Demon to 8. Oh, the opponent takes it. Very close, though. Gosh. Into our next one. And Shuri's Lab appears again. Seems to be a very pivotal location. I mean, obviously it is. Let's play our Nova. Being able to play Carnage here is brilliant because then the Carnage gets doubled depending on how many cards he eats. He can be very large. We could also play the Hood if we draw the Carnage. We might play the Hood somewhere else if we see Viper. Be able to make some tactical decisions on the fly there. Dark Dimension. It's the exact same locations as last time. Sure, I'll play Hood. Give me the Demon. They go Invisible Woman. Interesting, interesting. And then the Raft. Well, I would love to be able to win the Raft. I would also love to be able to send this -6 strength Goblin over to muck up their Invisible Woman play. But I think we'll do it like this. They are going to stack with the Invisible Woman. Makes sense, makes sense. Okay, now I play Polaris, which is going to pull the Invisible Woman over to the Raft, rip the rug out from under them. Alright, I am a fan now of the Polaris, and we get a free Spectrum. I don't have ongoing effects. Nevertheless, a free 5-er. Okay, I feel like the opponent might just retreat at this point after losing their Hela. There it is. I guess I should play more Polaris. Thank you, Ben. We were immediately given a rematch against the same opponents. We're going to roll into this one, see if they're able to take their cubes back. We have the Hazmat, Savage Land, okay, and then the Nova as well. So the preferable play, we flip first. I'll play the Hazmat. Play the Hazmat, look to play the Nova, clear this whole zone up with the Carnage. It debuffs them a tiny bit. I mean, it's one of the smaller Hazmats, but it's still something. Icebox hits a Nova, interesting. There's actually a world here where we play Nova Hood together, and then Carnage eats it all at Shuri's Lab rather than clearing away the 0-strength Raptors. They get the buff from the Nova, so it's at least something. And then we have a very big Carnage that doubles because of Shuri's Lab. And the opponent shows Swordmaster, cutting the death, going up to 12 strength himself. It's going to be a battle here. We do get the debris. Let's go with the Hood plan. Yeah, let's go with the Hood plan. Well, Doc Ock does very well up against the self-discard list as well because it just breaks their combos so much. So would I rather clear away the -2 on the Hood right now, or would I rather distribute the Nova buffs? It's terrible that the Icebox hit Nova, forcing me to decide. But I really would like to play Doc Ock on 5 here. So I think that I'll play it like this. A lot of different options here with this kind of deck. You're trying to exert control. We can use the debris to choke up one of these Invisible Woman spots. The discard list, what they want to do is be able to stack Invisible Woman, play Hela there at the very end, and then have their hand completely curated for the perfect Hela. We have the Polaris again. Oh man, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do the Doc Ock. See what the opponent pulls? Whatever the opponent pulls will not be doubled by Shuri Slab, so it's the perfect opportunity to be able to do this, even though as a Hela deck, the opponent is going to have some very big, powerful cards that could potentially show up here. The Gambit. Alright, Captain Marvel kills a Raptor, sure. And there's the Hela. So we got the Hela out early, and they get the free death, but here's the thing. If they had played that on the very end of the game, they would have gotten way more power from it. So now we just have to find a way to be able to win one of these other lanes, preferably this one at Savage Land. Yeah, the opponent has retreated. We were going to line up the debris, the Polaris, I believe, there. And we beat him up again. This deck unfortunately has no budget version. Its core cards are all Pool 3. Pool 2 doesn't really have cards that attack the opponent's board space, even though we have plenty of Pool 2 cards here, like the Spider-Woman, able to give them that negative power, the Debris, the Green Goblin, the Viper, honestly the Hood, and then the Black Widow are all very core to the list and all Pool 3. So something to be able to keep in mind once you have a large Pool 3 roster. If you have it, I highly recommend checking this style of deck out. I have a very similar deck that I've been playing for quite some time called Have Some Crap with a slightly tweaked list. Maybe you have some of these cards, but not some of the ones that Brode is using. I really love this style of deck. The final deck list from our game creator is termed Beast. It is playing around the synergy of the bounce mechanics in Beast here and Falcon. Now, Brode said that he is still tinkering around with this one. This one is in the refining process. The goal is to be able to play and then replay all of these high efficiency 1-drops, buff the collector in the process, and be able to overwhelm your opponent through your flexibility of adapting to what side of the board you want to play to, and being able to maintain buffs and, in the case of Beast, energy cheats through multiple plays of the same cards. We've already seen Hood today. We have the Elektra to kill an opposing 1-drop. We have Agent 13 creating a random card, Iceman putting the control on the opponent, Korg giving them that rock to their deck, Black Widow trying to prevent them the card draw through the Widow's Bite, the Collector getting stronger every time cards return to our hand, Beast returning everything at his location and reducing their cost. This is going to be persistent through multiple recalls to hand. Falcon is able to return 1-cost cards to your hand. These are cards that originally costed 1. So if Beast decreases their cost to 0, Falcon will still pull them back to hand. They can be replayed for free. The Ironheart is nice just to be able to give the buff. You can recall it with Beast, play it again for a 2-cost, get the extra buff. Very nice to be able to repeat. The Debris here, again, leveraging the control against the opponent. We can get rid of the rocks through Falcon and Beast, but the opponent hopefully cannot. And then Ben Brode is running the Nakia to be able to buff cards in hand. The buff is going to be persistent through recalling them to hand. I am going to preemptively make an edit here just for my own sanity in terms of playing the list. I know it is heresy, but we're dropping in the Bishop because he synergizes so well with playing a lot of these 1-drops and then repeat playing the 1-drops. It's already hurting me enough that Ben Brode is not running Angela on the list, so I can see definitely where this one is a little bit rougher, work in concept. We're going to see how this one plays for us. This is an archetype I have a lot of experience playing. I've enjoyed it for a long time, and I have good news for you guys. I've got budget tips for being able to bring it to life. So Iceman as a brilliant turn 1 start, Korg, Debris with the Ninja already on board. The opponent could be seeing a lot of their board space disappear, get away from them. We can set up the Collector as well. Very happy with the opening hand. We get Tinkerer's Workshop. Alright, we're really looking for something to let us start replaying cards. We get the Elektra instead. Well, fair enough. Let's go Korg, getting a nice stack of cards that we would all like to be returned. Now we have to be careful with the debris here because it would finish off the location and then only the Falcon could get them back. The Beast would not be able to. Opponent has the Thor. What do we get? That's Domain. And we got the Beast. It's so good. Okay, so we go Beast here. And we'll just hang on to the Electra. I don't know if the opponent's going to have anything that we would like to kill. But we will wait for now. Picking up the Ninja. Ninja's just going to stay in our hand. And we're very happy having the Death's Domain. Now we're getting all of these cards to buff the Collector. With the presence there. Yes, yes. We have the Ironheart here as well. Of course we play the Iceman, he's free. We want to get the control against the opponent as soon as possible. Same thing goes for the Korg. Then after that, we start making some more tactical decisions. We can bring in the debris here. Try and start locking the opponent down. Still holding on to the Electra. Yeah, I'll still hold on to the Electra. And then we can play the Ironheart next turn alongside whatever we draw. Honestly, I would like to draw the Falcon. We get the Jubilee. Jubilee trying to thin from the deck. Pulls a rock. Korg coming in, baby. Let's go. Yeah. The opponent has retreated. This deck might be meaner than the one we were just running. Iceman once again in the opening hand is so good to see. Beast, Hood, Electra. We go Iceman. We're going to line up a nice little location to be able to bounce back with the Beast. The Hood is interesting. Do you play the Hood and then get the Demon, play the Beast to reverse the -2, and then do you decide to replay him later to be able to get the other Demon? You certainly can. It probably depends on a lot of your hand size, the energy curve. Shuri's Lab, interesting. So we're going to set up the Collector very quickly here. I wish that we had known Shuri's Lab was there. We could start getting doubling effects and then repeat those with the Beast, but this is alright. They buff their Scorpion to 4. Honestly, we need to get rid of this Nova before it becomes more of a problem. And then let's go with the Korg. And we'll go ahead and play the Hood out here. The Hood, able to create the Demon, will also buff the Collector. We get the -3, which really hurts because of the Scorpion, but Falcon could potentially return it back to hand. No harm, no foul. What are they going to be able to show to Monster Metropolis? The Iceman. A lot of control here. Okay, so Beast is going to be very expensive. We get the Falcon. I think that we want the Beast first because the energy efficiency now is going to go through the roof. We can play all these cards for free, and then the Falcon to be able to return them, play them for free yet again, and just keep on playing through the Korg and the Iceman, mostly. Though the Electra also able to kill their Iceman here. I love how things are coming together. I really do. Let's get our Iceman, our Korg, and then the Falcon. Opponent has snapped. Maybe they have the Killmonger, maybe that devastates us, but I've had a great time along the way. Also the Demon holding strong at Shuri's Lab. What do we think their finisher is? Punisher, Scorpion, Iceman? Are they playing Infinite? Are they playing... no, they're not playing Infinite. I'm not sure what their line is. I mean, Iceman and Scorpion are just such efficient cards. You see them everywhere. They've got the Hobgoblin to come across. They're very sad they couldn't play the Hobgoblin to Shuri's Lab because that otherwise would have been a -16. The great thing about the Goblins is that Beast can pick them up for us. There's some great potential here. Let's go in with the Bishop. And then watch him scale, baby. Demon, stacks, Electra, kills. Yes. And then it is Agent 13 for the doubling. We have already sacked this lane, so I don't care if the Hood buries it farther. It still gives us an extra buff on the Collector, and then it's just a split between the Iceman and the Korg and where we are worried. How worried are we? Collector has actually gotten enormous. He's at 9 strength. He's getting the +3 from the Monster Metropolis. We're getting a significant buff on the Bishop. Let's just play the Korg. Play the Korg and wait. What do they have? Something huge to Shuri's Lab could still shut us down. Ooh, it is huge, but that Demon is going to be bigger. Yes! Oh man, I need to play my bounce list even more. Alright, Ben Brode with some incredible deck building advice for us today. If If you guys are interested in seeing more videos like this, I just shouldn't go into my outro yet. We're going to talk about the budget version of this list. But if you guys do want to see more videos of me reviewing other lists, maybe specifically from other personalities, let me know. I felt like seeing Ben Brode's video on IGN getting recommended to me, I had to go deeper into what the game lead was playing around with. Okay, before I was getting ahead of myself, budget version for this list. If you're just starting your journey, that is a Beast list is in the title. You need the Beast or the Falcon. I'm going to say you have to have one of these to be able to make this deck start. You really want to have both, but if you have one, you can still do great things. So we're going to cut one of them. In my journey, I got Beast first, so I'm going to drop the Falcon here, but if you have the Falcon, you can still run it just without the Beast. The Debris, we're going to drop her and talk about substitutions. Hood is great. We're going to sadly drop him, and Black Widow is our other pool 3 card. So this is the bones that we have. We are going to be looking to add, of course, Angela. I'm honestly surprised that Ben Brode is not actually running her right now. She is brilliant in this deck. Whether you're using Falcon or Beast to be able to recall them, she can maintain her buffs, have an open location to be able to continue playing in and getting even more of the buffs. We also like teching in, because we're playing a lot of 1-drops, a way to be able to buff said 1-drops, so the Khazar arrives. Also some counterplay up against the opponent, Shang-Chi, because the deck is going to struggle against some really large bodies out there, and the Shang-Chi helps rein them in. For the final card, we're looking at another 1-drop. You can either bring in the Rocket Raccoon, the Yondu, or Sunspot is going to do okay. I wouldn't run the Sunspot, actually. The Hawkeye, believe it or not, can get buffed multiple times, making a slight redeeming factor for what is otherwise a terrible card. So that is generally my advice for turning this into a budget list. You bring in the hybrid with the Zoo, and I have had excellent success climbing with this deck. So there are the decks that Ben Brode, the lead game designer of Marvel Snap, is playing around with. Very fun to be able to see his take on deck building, how it has warped from archetypes that I have actually been playing a lot myself. It was very fun to be able to dive in, show some gameplay for these, break them down a little bit more than that video that was up on IGN. But I do highly recommend, if you enjoyed this video, go down in the description. The link to that video is there, and you can hear Ben Brode speak about his decks himself. Till next time, thank you guys for watching. Keep on snapping.